Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. You must get rid of him. He knows too much. The freaking Raccoon-a-Tooie or whatever. Raccoon-a-Tooie. He knows too much. Or she knows too much. Funniest line of the movie. Convince me otherwise. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
Raccoon-a-Tooie! Man, you took my favorite line too.
The puppet raccoon.
I could have taken way more scenes like that.
Funny. No, it's so good. And we've got Grant Mickle on the podcast.
Nothing matters. The everything
Nothing
donut.
matters.
It's
Everything
a bagel.
bagel, Grant. It's
A bagel. Sorry. I don't know why I said donut.
I did get the vibe of a donut, though.
I know, I was thinking of donuts when I saw it.
That hairdo with the little circle on the top.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. All right. And we've got, first time on the podcast, Brittan Dopp.
Hey, I was also going to do the everything bagel, but that was already stolen, so.
Everything. I put everything onto a bagel. Have you ever put everything onto a bagel before? I guess that's what happens. You can see the curvature of the earth or something. I don't know.
Do people ever call you Brittan Dope when they read your name out loud?
All the time. I also get Brittany a lot. They actually read my name Brittany at my high school graduation.
Okay.
No, wait, college graduation. High school was Dope, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
They never got it right once, but that's pretty typical.
Oh, I love it. Folks, everybody listening, we are reviewing a very special movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. Or as Dad responded to me in text, what movie do you want me to go see? Everything Everywhere All at Once. What's the movie? I don't think he understood the title of the movie. I'm like, it's called Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie was directed by the Daniels. By Daniels, I mean Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
Ty, Dad doesn't like to read movies. I don't know if he's going to like it.
There was very little reading in this movie.
There's a lot. You'd be surprised. You're just kind of used to it.
Yeah, the English/Mandarin, they kind of do like a Mandarin-y.
I mean, late in the movie, there's the whole entire scene that's nothing but text. Not even subtitles. It's just text.
Yeah, but it's just text. But that, I don't know. I think it's done for done for comedic purposes, but a really sweet emotional moment too, which was really cool. Guys, this movie is unlike anything I've ever seen. Okay, so we are reviewing this movie. It came out in 2022, and it stars Michelle Yeoh, Ke-Huy Quan, Jamie Lee Curtis, Stephanie Hsu, James Hong. You guys remember James Hong, our boy from Big Trouble in Little China?
He's also
you recognize Dad in the wheelchair.
Kung Fu Panda Dad.
Mr. Barton.
The goose guy.
He's Poe's dad. Yeah, he's the goose.
Oh, and is this kid from Goonies?
Ke-Huy Quan is. I'm gonna mess up names so bad. Yeah, but he was in Goonies. He was also he was from
Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Dr. Jones, dude, kid, which was so funny because he still sounds his voice still sounds so as high pitched as it was when he was a kid. Yeah, Daddy, I know Dr. Jones. Yeah, it's
I loved him. I want to see him more. I hope he's in more stuff after this.
What a treat, you know? Got Jenny Slate, Biff Whiff. His name is Biff Whiff. It's the character Rick that smelled his wife's perfume. Harry Shum Jr. and a few others. But I can't fail to mention Brian Lee. He was our friend taking the audit trophy. He was great. Oh my gosh, he was hilarious. Trying to get that audit trophy or whatever. So funny.
Well,
anyway,
did she say? Because Cameron said or Grant said that it was purposefully looking like a. I actually, when I saw that, I thought they were making fun of trophies, like that trophies are dumb.
Yeah, and I even thought of it too, where it's like these meaningless awards, right? In the end, they were just a means to an end to jump into a different.
Well, and did you
dimension.
catch it, Ty, when her weapons is changing to all different things? I think one of them was an Oscar. Did you catch that?
Oh, was it?
Maybe. I don't know. It was flashing so fast. I was like...
It was. I thought the same thing after I watched this movie. I'm like, I cannot wait to go through and comb through every freeze frame in the scene where she's she's passing through every single dimension. There's different animations used. There's different locations, it was awesome. There's so much to be fascinated by this film, and this is definitely not just a one-time watch, folks. Guys, whoever's listening to this podcast right now and has not seen this movie, stop right now, go see the movie, come back and listen to this episode.
I was also wondering, Ty, if they
spoilers.
Did green screens on some of them because they were flashing so fast. Because I freeze framed just the trailer, and a couple of them they superimposed her face on somebody else. It looked like.
I was actually.
Oh really?
I was actually curious about that scene, and in one of the interviews they did say that anytime they were filming on any set in any place, they would take just a bunch of pictures of her in different lighting in front of green screens, and they'd be like, this one has kind of a blue twinge. Let's put a Antarctica background on it. And it's like,
right.
So they just had, I'd love to take that frame by frame.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what makes it such a delight, because it only enhances the story, because there were so many little details in this that a lot of them I'm sure went over my head, but a lot of them when I caught, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Like, that's so wonderful. That's beautiful, So we're going to go around and say what was it like watching this movie for the first time, and then what was it like rewatching for the podcast. This movie's still in theaters, so I just saw it for the first time, and I was blown away. I absolutely love this film, and I'm so glad we're talking about it today. So, and I will be rewatching it hopefully this weekend with my wife. I'm going to go take her to go see it because I loved it so much. I think she'd get a kick out of watching it. So I'm going to force her to go watch it with me again because I want to see it again. Grant, how about you, man? What was it like watching it for the first time or rewatching it for the pod?
It was really enjoyable. I watched it with Cameron and Jordan, and we were just like laughing the whole time. So it was a very enjoyable
This movie
watch.
is hysterical.
Yeah. And it was funny too, because I felt like it was a pretty tame, like, for a rated R. Like, they blurred out the guy, like, when he was naked. Like, that was super funny. And, like...
But not the freaking trophy hanging around his tail end.
Yeah.
That thing was just flopping around. Oh, my gosh. It is so gross.
Yeah.
The idea that he was trying to get it, that was what was so disturbing. He was, like, trying to land his... Do something unexpected. I can't remember what she does. Like, that's not that crazy. They have to, like, do something really gross or something so wacky and zany. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
Who's to say that's not weird? Jump up and down on 1 foot. That's weird.
It's true.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, Jordan, how about you? Watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the pod?
Yeah, like Grant said, we did a double feature, and we saw both Ambulance then this, so it was like very refreshing going from like a Michael Bay just explosion movie to this. So...
With no meaning behind it, just explosions and, entertainment.
And hey, that's like got to be one of the highest ranked, other than Bad Boys too, like highest rated film. It's like 68 on Rotten Tomatoes. They hate Michael Bill. They don't want, critics don't want to give him a good score. So I saw that and I was like, okay. I mean, I think everyone's just so tired of like the all the messaging they're getting. They're like, hey, just a dumb movie about an ambulance and Jake Gyllenhaal. Watch this.
They probably know what to expect by now.
Yeah, exactly. The expectations are managed, So I was just surprised that it got so high on Rotten Tomatoes. So
because Jake Gyllenhaal's performance was amazing. But getting back to this movie, I absolutely loved it, and I'm so glad the Daniels are making movies together again, because I've seen their movies. I mean, obviously Swiss Army Man, which is amazing, and then I've watched their movies that they made separate, and I don't know. I think they just work so much better together. Personally, I mean, it's a personal preference.
What is going on? Like, who are these two people? Are they friends? Are they like? I need to do more research into these directors, because like Swiss Army Man was like lightning in a bottle, I thought, but this movie, guys, I'm going to announce it here on the podcast. It made my top 10 movies of all time for sure. Like, I might be recency
bias, yeah,
maybe. But what's crazy is like Swiss Army Man is there, and I like this movie fundamentally much more than Swiss Army Man. So I'm going to have to bump Swiss Army Man out of my top 10, and this is going to go in there.
I think Grant said the same thing when we walked. I asked him in the theater. You said this is better than Swiss Army Man, right, Grant?
Yeah.
And Grant, I don't know, this is a weird question to ask. Do you think maybe the first time you watched Swiss Army Man, it was easier when you were single and in college, and you're like, this movie applies more to me, and now that you're married, maybe even contemplating kids down the future, this movie, I had more in common with this movie now. I guess it's just, maybe I aged with the Daniels, like when I watched Swiss Army Man, it does seem like a single guy's movie. I don't know how to explain it otherwise, right? It's like,
that's true.
It's a loner, it's a social outcast, you watch his journey, and you're like, I have more in common with this guy. And then you watch this movie, it's all about the family, and I don't know, I liked it. Not enough movies about the family.
But isn't this just a Rick and Morty episode, Ty, though? That's totally what I thought.
You mentioned that, and I thought that, but I was so glad that I didn't even go in with that luggage, because honestly, this is way better. This is a much more optimistic version of nihilism that I really, really like, and I think Rick and Morty could take a lesson. No offense, Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. I love you guys' stuff, but honestly, I'm almost fed up with the nihilism for the sake of nihilism is just kind of getting old. And meta, like, you can only make so many of those jokes before it's like have some creativity. Freak, watch this movie and you'll Raccoonatouille. Guys, this movie is insane. Hot dog fingers. What the? It's crazy. Okay, so, and Brittan, before we go any further, what was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Yeah, so I watched it just for the first time last night, and
I'm together.
I'm a newcomer, I guess, to the Daniels. I didn't see Swiss Army Man, and I never really watched a lot of don't watch a lot of movies, actually, to be honest.
Well, that's account of your kids and your wife. You know,
No,
you got a life to live outside of movies.
Totally, this movie like hit me in a way I was not expecting, and I think it's because I am at that pace in my life where I just like don't have time to do stuff, and like watching a movie about Evelyn, who is in that sort of situation where it's like, where has my life gone? I relate with that a lot. To be
Don't
perfectly
start crying,
honest
Brittan.
with you.
I'm going to feel really bad for being on the podcast.
Like,
you have a
so
midlife
this
crisis.
is just, I loved every second of it. I thought it was hilarious. Even the like, just the absurdity of it all, I think spoke to my brain in a way that it let me cut through all of the like suspense of disbelief and just let my guard down and enjoy the movie. And it was just a treat. Like, yeah, I would put it probably in my top 5 as well. Like, I don't know. We're going to get into it, but there's a whole lot to say about this movie.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. And just a funny story. So we get to the theater and we're really going to share a bowl of popcorn. And I'm like, okay, extra butter. And then I asked for mustard, like a bunch of mustard packets. And I could see Britton's face. And it almost, his spirit seemed to drop just instantly. He's like, well, you're going to smother mustard all over the top of popcorn. He's like, no, it's for me. In between bites, I like to cleanse my palate with some mustard. My dad taught me that.
Are you guys, okay, so that's just a Thai thing? You guys
yeah,
don't do
it's
that
disgusting.
The fudge.
Learned it from my dad, and after like 10 mouthfuls of buttery popcorn, you can't taste it anymore. It's like you've numbed to it.
I tried
so
it.
You have a little bit of mustard. It's like wasabi, you know? You just got to clean your palate, cleanse the palate, and then you can go back to the popcorn, and it's really great again.
I went for it. I tried it. It works. I will admit that it works. But you also have a big hit of mustard right during the middle of your movie to kind of spice it up a bit.
They gave me like 20 packets. I'm like, you want some more, Brittan? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, you only had 2.
It's okay. When I used to work at the movie theater, Ty, we would put anything and everything on the popcorn because we got so sick of just eating popcorn. I mean, we put cheese on it. They have different sauces.
Oh, man.
Nacho cheese. You just eat it with a fork or a spoon. How do you eat that stuff? You just eat nacho cheese dripping down your face. No, what's the weirdest thing you've seen put on popcorn before? See, like, I'm trying to think. Like, I know some people put M&Ms. I don't really care for Milk Duds at all, but I see people do that too. You put M&Ms on a fresh bag or bucket of popcorn, they start getting like nice and soft, like the ones that sit in the popcorn for a while. Just saying, it's pretty good. So, but I don't know. You guys put ketchup. What's the weirdest thing? You said you put nacho cheese. Did anyone else ever put anything on butter popcorn? Nothing.
I like putting the seasoning, like either white cheddar or butter. Those are good. Oh,
so you have like seasoning salt, right, at the theater? Yeah, some places have that.
Yeah. When I worked at a movie theater in high school, and they had like 5 different random like toppings you could put on your things, and they all smelled disgusting. They just smelled like nasty socks. And I'm like, why does anyone use these? But people would just coat it, and they're like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like white cheddar. It's like, what is white
just
cheddar?
Powder at this point.
Like, that's not a thing. And it smelled terrible. But yeah,
just gonna dust it like a snow globe.
I'm a purist. Yeah, butter only is the way I'll go.
Like I said, it just was so funny asking for that mustard and just seeing your face drop like, oh, I won't be sharing any of that popcorn with you. I'm just like spraying mustard packets on top of the popcorn. The communal popcorn bowl. Yeah, come on, guys. If you're sharing a popcorn bowl, be a polite friend and ask them what they like on their toppings. Maybe nothing at all right? Be nice. So, guys, let's get into this movie. We're going to go around and say 2 of our favorite things from this film. Why don't we start with you, Brittan? Chomping at the bit. You've got some stuff to say. What's your 2 favorite things from this film?
Sure. I absolutely loved just you mentioned the nihilism of it all. And like, I think that's a modern message that today in our society, like, everybody is so inundated with everything all the time, all at once. Go figure. And nothing is like interesting anymore. And I love that they took that like philosophy, that thought about it, and they kind of delivered the message that it's like the little moments, it's the things, it's the connections, it's the families. I thought that despite the absurdity of the movie, the message was really inspiring, honestly. I also just loved how fresh and different it was from everything else I've seen lately. Like Spider-Man Homecoming, talking about, or not Homecoming?
No Way Home.
No Way Home, talking about multiverses. I liked No Way Home, but I'm kind of like cautiously optimistic for Doctor Strange, because I don't know, like comic books and multiverses feel so played out. And
hey,
so like seeing this take on it was really fresh. And like I said, it's because it was so absurd, like it cut through all the disbelief and you're just like, I'm just going to go along for the ride. And I had fun the whole time. And I thought they threaded that needle really well of hilarity and sincerity. So
love it. Grant, how about you, man? 2 of your favorite things from this movie?
I think going along with that, one of my favorite things was that they didn't take themselves too seriously. Like, and I think they did a good job of like not getting too nerdy with like how the multiverse everything works, and like they made a funny humorous twist on like how you connect yourself to a different version of yourself. Like doing something odd
how is that
like projects the probability of you reaching
taking out a whole thing of chapstick and just biting it off. Cheers it up.
Or a fly lands on your finger and then you snort it up your nose.
Snort the fly? Dude, there were some of the weirdest things. Shove a trophy. Do what was the other? Oh, like take some chewed up gum under someone. Yeah, someone's chewed up gum under a desk. Pull it off and chew it. Oh my gosh. Or profess your love. That was one of my favorites. She had to tell the auditor, "I love you."
But you have to mean it, Ty.
You have to mean it. I love you. Ah!
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
And then I think my second favorite thing would be just I love how like I think one of the other messages too was like I love how her husband, the different version of himself, comes up to her and he's like I think you're the chosen one because you're the worst version of yourself.
You've never done anything in your life of worth.
He's like, all these other paths that would have made you successful and like happy. She's like, you took none of those.
You chose none of them.
The grass is literally greener for her. Like, I love it. She's in the darkest timeline. Yeah. It's great.
And I love that because like that made her like he explained it as like that essentially she has the most possibilities of reaching every single one because she hasn't experienced any of those, which I thought was interesting. So I like the idea that like, you know, the hard things you go through, like all like have that equal and opposite effect that make you a better person in the end. I think, you know, like it increases your potential to be better, which I think is really
so
cool.
far, the two of you have said really optimistic and wonderful messages from this movie. I'm saying you can have a nihilist message, and it doesn't have to be so gosh dang bleak all the time. Looking at you, Rick and Morty. Again, sorry. Just saying, because again, like it's popular and it's fun, but like have some fun with it, and don't be afraid to even make optimist, I will get into my 2 favorite things. At the very end was the relationship between the daughter. At the very beginning of the film where she tells her daughter, hey, you've gotten fat. Like instead of saying like, I love you or come back again soon. The last thing the mother says to her, like she's so stressed out and she just looks at me like, you need to eat healthier. You're getting fat. And it's like the nail in the coffin for the daughter and she's crying in a tizzy fit and drives off. And what I thought was so interesting is like at the very end.
Is that when you cried, Ty?
Yeah, that was when I cried. I was like, you don't understand me. Driving home, tears rolling down my face with my mustard packets flying out of my pockets. I remember thinking like, I love at the end, it wasn't cliche because she doesn't say like, oh, I love you, none of that matters. She then's like, you only call me when you need money. You only stop by like when it's convenient for you. You only come by for holiday. She says even harsher things. And in the end of like, that's what a freaking parent to child relationship is. It's complicated. It's difficult. And she's like, but in the end, you only seem to come around here when you need something from me. But in the end, I choose to come through all the universes and all that throughout time. I still come here and make time for you because I love you. And it was like almost like a very like hard hitting truth. But man, that was awesome.
There was no sugarcoating.
There was no sugarcoating. And I'm like,
refreshing.
Yes, thank you, Evelyn. Like for speaking the truth. Like we live in a time, I've already told you guys, high love and low expectations. We expect nothing from our youth today, nothing from our neighbors, nothing from our family and friends. We have ultimate love and respect for them, but we have no expectations. And this one, Evelyn showed that like you can love someone and expect that you want the best for your kid. You don't want them to be miserable. You don't want them to be a loser. Anyway, loved that message at the end, and that was so good. And then my second thing is the title of this movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It's 3 parts, and everything, at the beginning, it shows like this family and the laundromat and the drama between all the characters. That's everything about this movie. Everything hinges on this family's relationship to each other. Part 2, Everywhere. That's the wacky, zany multiverse, the plot, the kind of fun MacGuffin. Like, you gotta understand what the everything bagel is. You gotta save your daughter. You gotta do all this stuff. That's Everywhere. And then all at once, it all culminates into this one moment. And it's almost a flashback. It's after this failed party and this moment where you think everything is lost in all despair. And she has this moment where she finally does not let her daughter go without telling her the hard-hitting truth and that she loves her. And that's everything all at once. All these moments in her whole life, there was 2-3 scenes where there were instances of her life that were flashing before her whole eyes. Like, she saw all these moments and really beautiful moments of her opening the laundromat, running around with her daughter when she was young, just really sweet moments in life that, like, everyone understands these moments, like really sweet nostalgic things where you play them in your mind just like a home video, you would a home video.
Connecting with hot dog fingers.
Yeah. Oh man, I won't take any more of my 2 favorite things. So yeah, the title and then everything, the relationship with this family and that hard-hitting truth at the end. It was just so unlike a lot of the movies today where, again, hi love. Oh, we love you just the way you are, sweetie. Don't worry about it. You're great. No, you only call me when you need something. You only call me for money. What's that about, huh? Hard-hitting truth. Anyway, that's family. And it's messy, it's complicated, and sometimes you have all the span of the universe to try to understand it. And even something as conceptualized in the shape of a bagel, and everything bagel, it's still, it's great. And it's
I
all
love
captured
too,
so
like
well
even the
in this
rock
movie.
scene, like normally the cliche thing is like, oh, you catch them right before they fall, but like she falls and then the mom falls after her. Like,
Yeah, she lets her fall. I thought that was pretty poignant.
Yes, for sure. You have to let the kids fail. Jordan, how about you, man? 2 of your favorite things from this movie.
I mean, we've already quoted him, but Ratatouille is easily my favorite part of this movie. And I just wanted
the
more
story,
scenes.
the movie, the raccoon on his head. He like poses him like a puppet, right?
Yeah, and then
Ratatouille!
just them making like a joke about it early on and laughing hysterically, but then actually making it like happen. And then
That's hysterical as it is.
yeah,
The whole universe.
and then when he was being taken away, and then she was riding, like she was guiding him, we were like dying laughing in the
Oh
theater.
my gosh. She gets on his head, guides him like Ratatouille. Oh my gosh, so funny.
It was amazing.
And then at the end, she like helps him up. Guys, that is amazing. Love it. So,
Yeah, I
love that's your favorite part.
and then every like all these little side characters got all these little arcs. Like it was so beautiful.
My gosh, yes. There's an
loved that.
amazing cathartic moment where every single character she's come in contact with, she does something really sweet and genuine for them.
Which goes into
And
my
it's
second
so
favorite thing
sweet.
before Ty steals it.
Yep.
I just want to say the whole like it was very refreshing. I get Disney, it's like the good guys always win. However, but the way they went about this, it was just like Ty said, in a nihilistic world, they saw love. And I love that she used love to fight, because it's like, oh, we always got to fight the bad guy. And I'm so tired of that.
She did kind acts.
And so when he said fight with kindness, at first I'm like, okay, this is cheesy. And also they got like amazing. And it was so good.
So good, dude.
It wasn't, Scott Pilgrim unlocking the power of love. Like,
Yes, that's totally what I thought of.
yes,
Beautiful.
exactly. And it was so sweet because each of them, they set up each of these characters with like this flaw, and you got to see them. Like the guy at the laundromat, like, oh, my wife, rest her soul. Like she used to wear perfume like that. He gets to smell it and he like falls down and he's like beside himself. He's like, oh, yeah. It's so great. Like the weirdest one, the weird ball gag guy. She's just the funniest thing, dude. I'm sorry, that was so.
Oh, did you know that's one of the directors, Ty?
really?
Is that one of the Daniels?
Yeah, that's one of the
that's
Daniels.
hilarious.
And then the second,
Of course they put themselves in
the
that.
second
That's so
one made a
funny.
cameo as well. He was the guy that got sucked into the bagel and his face was like melting.
So okay. I think I know which one is the Asian one. Okay, so that's crazy, dude. Oh wow, that's awesome. I'm glad they made an appearance because again, these two, they do look like the two weirdos that would make a film like this. But gosh, yeah, those random acts of kindness, like you said, because at the beginning, I actually leaned over to Brittan. I made a dumb joke about like when the daughter was driving away the first time angry that her mother said, oh, this is her friend and not girlfriend because you're going to give your grandfather a heart attack because he doesn't understand these kinds of things. If you're that's not cool with him. Is it of a different generation? And when she's driving away crying, I'm like, I wish I could cancel my parents right now. Just the angry teen. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this a million times. But in the end, like what really worked for me is because like this is an angry teen, and I love that regardless of whatever your teens are going through, like there is always a generational disconnect because it's like you're like there's great moments in this where she has an alternate universe where she never left her father and didn't go off with her husband, Evelyn's character, and and she's like super rich and famous. She becomes like a fighter and a movie star, a really powerful, famous actress. And her husband, he seems to do all pretty well for himself. And that was actually the first scene where I cried. I got teary-eyed when they hook up in this universe, and he's like, we could have been together. And she's like, no, but we had this dirty laundromat. It was a miserable life and existence. And he's like, you're tearing my heart out here, because like I would have taken the laundromat, like, for a chance to be with you. And that's when I got teary-eyed the first time. He's like,
how does that not remind you of the episode of Rick and Morty when they wear the goggles, remember? And then both Beth and Jerry.
It was that.
Yeah.
But this was way better done. Like,
well, I agree with that. I'm just saying, you're like, no, it's not like Rick and Morty. I'm like, yeah, it's Rick and Morty.
No, I mean, no, dude, you know what this reminds me of? This movie is The Matrix. I was telling Brittan this, like, after we watched it, like, this movie is literally The Matrix. You have Neo living his pathetic existence. He gets a call to action from someone outside of the reality or whatever.
Any story ever.
And Morpheus, well, yeah, but then they literally have the van where they're plugged in, and then she literally stops a bullet with her forehead. Like, there was way too many.
Oh, that, yeah, I was thinking about The Matrix when he stopped the...
They were explicit. I'm pretty sure intentional references.
And I didn't even, I think it was apparent, but they never even mentioned the movie Matrix. Instead, they go on this Ratatouille a parody, which is so
But
funny.
I guess the title is rather fitting.
Jokes.
It's like everything, you know?
Yeah, it's everything. And what's so amazing about this movie is, like, this movie could not exist even, like, 10 years ago. Like the concepts in this movie, like, I watched Swiss Army Man, and I'm almost like, that movie just
10 years ago. Have you ever seen The One?
The One. Is that the Jet Li movie?
I don't remember who. It's got the guy from Crank. What's his name?
Jason Statham?
Yeah, and this guy, he keeps killing himself from different universes, and then he gets more powerful. He takes their strength and their powers and their gifts. Anyways, you said
this was also a fairly Odd Parents episode, so yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm just saying, you said it.
I'm just telling you.
It's a tale as old as time. I just like how you talk about this.
It's The Matrix, yeah. It's a hero's journey, for sure. It's a 3-part movie, but again, it still seems so fresh and original, because in the end, the emotional weight that comes on the hinges on the family's relationship, because at the beginning, I disdained the daughter. I was like, what a dumb brat. She's not helping her parents out. I hate her guts. Like, I already understand her character. And then you see her as the villain, and I was like, oh, like, I'm gonna be so annoyed with her. And then she's like, it reminded me of The Mask. She's like salsa dancing a guy to death or something, and pops his head into confetti. Like, it's so absurd. And then she pretends to be injured, and she's like, and she's like, I'm not really hurt. Or whatever. It's so funny. Like, it's so unlike anything I'd seen before. And it just takes, so original.
In my opinion, it takes everything I love from all these different things and makes it right. Like, it does it so well. And like you said, yes, it feels very original, because you're just tired of seeing formulaic things where it's a Disney movie has such a...
Yeah, or even they just don't spend enough time to make you feel or care about the characters.
Yes, thank you.
I even cared about Jamie Lee Curtis. Bless her. I can't believe she was in this movie.
Oh my gosh, I did not recognize her.
She was amazing in this film. I didn't even recognize her. The scene where she's standing there at the camera, she's got her little gut, and then she, like, sucks it in and then, like, flies through the air. Like, it's freaking hilarious. Like, she turns into a murderer. She staples the mark of the bagel on her forehead. She's, like, screaming, you know, she assaulted me. And then she turns into, like, a raving lunatic murderer. Oh, so good. And then the hot dog fingers. Guys, can we talk about the hot dog fingers? I thought of The Office. Fissures? Nobody has that. Somebody has it. Count Chocolitis. Hot dog fingers. Anyway. It's from The Office. I kept thinking hot dog fingers. They're like, if she watches the soap opera from the beginning, it's like a prince with like his Persian princess, and then they're like dancing and singing. And then later in the movie, they're like slapping each other with these ridiculous, elongated hot dog finger looking hands. And then Jamie Lee Curtis and Evelyn are like in some kind of relationship, and they're like, there's at least some good that can be found, even in something as ridiculous as hot dog fingers. You can actually play the piano with your feet really well, they say. It's like she still finds the good and even the most absurd things, and I love that about this film. That's another great message. It's very optimistic. She's playing. I didn't say stop. What a lovely tune. Keep playing. And she's playing with her feet. It looks so weird. It's like little feet playing the keys of the piano. So weird, dude. Oh my gosh, it's unreal.
Leave it to the Daniels to make you feel something for Two Rocks. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that scene.
That was an emotional scene for me. That one, and then for the scenes that got me, like I said, it was the one where the husband and her are talking in the alleyway, and then I think it was shortly after The Rock, or it was after, like, it was somewhere in that time. Oh, it was when she was ruining everything. It made me really upset. And at the very end, like, she almost loses faith. She peers into the everything bagel, and she's like, you're right, everything's meaningless. Like, when you're as powerful as a god, and everything just doesn't mean anything. Like, you can be anywhere, everything. You can be anything. Nothing matters. And she gets super nihilistic. She stabs her husband. I didn't see that coming. Again, it was terrifying. She like, you got the sense that she was giving up, and then it was so terrifying. And so her doing that, and then like destroying the laundromat, yelling at the auditor to get out of there. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh, stop. And she's smashing with a bat the windows of the laundromat, and you're just like, she's giving up, she's losing. You're just losing all this hope, and there's just so much emotional weight that's being borne on this relationship and this dirty laundromat that you shouldn't even care about. It's this fictitious business being audited by the #1 auditor of the year award or whatever lady. But
well, it's so interesting too, because
really,
she even
really
says,
special.
she's like, and I can't believe she says this to her husband, but she's like, my life would be way better without you.
Yeah. I just had a vision of what it would have been like
it was amazing.
if I was with you. It was I was incredible or something like that.
It was so funny. Yes, say those hard-hitting truths were so funny.
Well, and that's what I love too, is like all those insults that the husband takes, and even like him getting stabbed, like he still gets up and still like keeps fighting for her, which I think is like so cool, you know? And then just the idea of like, because I think that it's a lot of the messages today, it's like, oh, evil is always evil. Not that like evil is ever good, but I love the idea of her kind of embracing the hopelessness, but then kind of coming out of that and kind of realizing that it's an individual journey. I think that's why she lets her daughter go into the black hole by herself, and then like still is there for her when she comes out if she decides.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I just love that a lot.
Yeah, because sometimes you want to just take the pain from them, but in the end, it's like when she's driving off to the beginning, right? It's that same thing. She's like, she came here, she needed some acceptance and validation from her father, from her mother, from her grandfather, but in the end, it's like she didn't get it, didn't go according to plan. She couldn't even come out to her grandfather because it's like the mother intervened, right? She's like, just don't do it. Like, this is not the place or the time or the people to do this to. And then later on in the end of the film, it's like everyone can reconcile their differences, but in the end, even if you have these differences, what was so beautiful is just like, again, those hard-hitting truths. I just love the mother's response to all of this. Like, it wasn't like that happy-lucky movie where you're enough. It was like, you should still do better. Like, and now you're understanding me, because they both went into that abyss, right? She was like, I went across the universes to find the one Evelyn that I could corrupt and show and open your mind and see how fruitless it is. And then she does get that moment of despair, but then is still able to pull herself out of it.
You know what hit me really
incredible.
Too in that, so in those scenes too, is in a typical movie, it's like she would right the wrong, right? Like she tells the dad that it's the girlfriend and not. And even when the daughter got that validation, that wasn't enough to satisfy her. Like, she still was dealing with the darkness that was, in her mind. And I don't want to
Yes, that's a great moment too. Real quick, I just want to add the scene where she literally says in the laundromat, she's like, "Oh, this is just what does she call it? A random probability." Like, she's like, "Oh, the auditor gave us another week to file the taxes." She's like, "This doesn't mean anything. Like, this isn't special. This is a statistical anomaly," is how she dismisses it. But that's the moment it starts to turn, and then she has that sweet moment where she goes outside with the auditor and sucks on her vape pen or whatever. It's just very sweet. Like, anyway.
Yeah, so, someone who's like, I almost missed this podcast because my wife has depression, and she was like having a really rough night, and I was like, I might need to be there for her if she ends up going into it. Like, that was a moment that really touched home to me. It was like even when someone who has depression, everything seems like everything that their brain is telling them is wrong. Even if it all gets fixed, the depression doesn't go away. Like, it just doesn't get fixed like that. Like, it has to be something from within and internal and change over time. And it was so refreshing to see that displayed in a way that was real, that it wasn't just like, oh, like, we gave you what you want, you can be happy now. It's like, no, like, there has to make the decision to be happy.
Gotta work at it. That's family. Gotta keep working at it. Don't go crazy. Jordan and Grant, you guys have kids, you're gonna love it. It's so much fun. Just don't lose your mind. I feel like James Franco, trapped in the canyon wall. He's like, what does he say? Aaron, do not go crazy. Do not start losing it right now, all right? So, guys, you guys have any other quotes? I actually, I checked. I had to find this one because, again, it was so emotional. But when Wang tells Evelyn, he's like, so even though you had broken my heart yet again, because this is the universe where, again, they're famous movie stars, and they both live successful lives, which was so ironic. It wasn't like he was a loser always. It was like, because they didn't have each other, they could focus on their own, happiness, and they like both get very, very lucky in life.
Oh, like the Family Man, Ty.
I know. That's right. See, again, another reference. Amazing, Jordan. He's like, so even though you have broken my heart yet again, I wanted to say in another life, I would have really liked just doing laundry and taxes with you. It was just, that's life, dude. So it's the most real thing, like the most real thing. And this movie came out in 2022, and it speaks to like, I feel like it has to speak to the younger generation. Although I'm sure it would have to be a TikTok video for them to like have the attention span to watch a whole story like this. But I hope kids still go see movies because this is amazing. Everyone should go watch this and make everybody just a little bit more empathetic, huh? What a great movie. Holy cow. You guys have any other quotes that you guys wrote down? I can't remember everything the raccoon said, but everything the raccoon said, I couldn't hear because I was laughing my butt off, dude. Like, it was just like, she knows too much. Like, because he rips out the hat, and the raccoon's like freaking out. They put it in the cage, and it's leaving, and it's like, and then there's like, mustard and ketchup. Is it squirting out of the fingers or in their mouths? It's so gross.
Yeah, when they put the hot dogs in their mouth and they're screaming. Everything was so uncomfortable about that, but it just like the cringe humor was fantastic.
Yes, the cringe humor was so great. And guys, the fight scenes were pretty kick-a. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they were really
amazing.
cool to watch.
Reminded me of Jackie Chan a little bit.
Yes, dude.
Classic,
Data
like,
coming back with the
kung fu
fanny pack.
callbacks.
He reminded me so much of the Goonies, where I'm like, dude, but he uses that clip in that guy's nose and pulls his face down. Oh my gosh, it was unreal. And then he like fistful of the fish rocks in the aquarium or whatever, puts it in his fanny pack and slapping him in the head. It's freaking awesome, dude. It's so cool. So the action holds up, the humor lands. Like I was just beside myself at how much fun I had during this movie. That was the crazy. I did not anticipate. I actually was worried this was going to be like a weird artsy film. It did, like you said, Grant. It didn't take itself seriously, and it's still. I mean, what it got like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics and like 98% from audiences or something like that. It's unreal. Everyone loves this movie. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast and you have not seen this movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Say it with me. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Go see this film. It's a must-see. Do you guys have any other quotes or funny things you wanted to throw out?
I thought it was crazy when it said, like, it said, ended the movie, and it said directed by, like, Daniel, and then, dude,
I
was like, no way. I was like, is part 2
No.
going to be a movie too? I was like, no.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
there was audible gasps in the theater that were like, no, like that's how they're going to end the movie. Yeah. Because we all would have been like, I mean, that would worked. It really did because it was
They
like
could've.
a very
They could have ended it there and it'd been like, still would have been a poignant film where you're like, wow, that's bleak.
Very poignant. But yeah, bleak. But and again, that got me great. I was like, oh, dude, the Daniels would end a movie like this. Like in 2022, that is how you end a movie, dude. Yeah. And it got me. I literally thought that was the end, but then like very quickly, I was like, no, they got to keep going because like after it showed the directed, and then it showed something else, and I was like, they're gonna, and then they slowly backed out, and I'm like, yes, it's still gonna go on for another, however long. I lost complete track of time because I knew the hour before I went in, it was gonna be like a 2 hour and 20 minute movie, but I actually thought that was the end. I mean, like that was like somewhere in like the 2/3 area. I was like, did so much time go by so fast? I just lost track of the time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the movie. Totally got me, dude. Yeah. False ending, amazing. So well done. And it totally worked because she was in the premiere of the movie of a different universe or a movie that she had made about herself. I don't even know. It's so confusing. Like I said, I almost had the feeling of Tenet where I'm like, I literally lost track when they kept cutting back to the guy in the van, her husband. I'm like, I don't even get what's going on here. I really did. Like, it lost me for a brief moment where I'm like, I get that he's searching and he's like helping her find the way. But after she died, I couldn't figure. She's like, let me go back to my husband or whatever. And then I was very confused. I was like, where is she jumping around? What's going on here? Like, is she still able to jump? The daughter comes in with that ridiculous pink feather or green feather boa outfit or whatever. Yeah. She destroys him and kills him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, her husband's dead. And then the loser husband comes back. I love that. Every time Blake's character was like, no, he'd like, yeah, come back, and he's like, what's wrong? I thought it was so funny when in the laundromat on the security camera, you watch him, he's like jumping around the desks and the furniture of the laundromat, like he's hopping over the furniture like parkour. I thought that was so funny. Great subtle thing, and then later, it sets up like that. No, that was a moment where he was like switching into a different universe, or a different universe was being channeled through him. I thought that was so funny. But anyway, that was absolutely brilliant. I have to go see it again. Definitely gonna go rewatch this. So, you guys have any nitpicks or anything you tear apart at this movie? Like I said, the only thing is like I was convinced that she died. Thankfully, they found a way to resurrect her, or she went somewhere else. I don't know how that worked.
My big nitpick is this is a hard movie to like get people to see.
Yes.
because it's so good, but then they go look at the reviews and it's like, what about and like fighting with? It's like that doesn't sound. I don't want to see that. Like that doesn't sound like something I'd want to watch. But it's like no, like it's so much more than that. It's like this much of a movie.
Yeah.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm like, man, you got to come see this movie with me. And she's like, yeah, I don't think I have any desire to see it. I'm like, it's the most beautiful movie I've seen. I've cried twice in it. So it's really funny, Brittan, without spoiling Swiss Army Man. They say the first one. Okay, I won't spoil it, but they said in a quote in the movie, they said, the first fart makes you laugh, the last fart makes you cry. So when you go watch Swiss Army Man, you just wait and see, because again, the Daniels have a way of making really absurd things really, really sweet and really emotional, which is why I think this movie really works really well, because I was super emotional during this movie, and all the things you guys shared, all the optimism and all the cool messages you can pull from this thing, even though it's so absurd and so hard to even put into words. What I just witnessed, like, this movie's out there, man.
It's crazy, but it's a human story, and I think that's where it hits. It comes back to speaking to our humanity, and that's why I liked it.
Well said. Well, folks, we end every movie podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Brittan, have you watched any movies lately? And guess what? You can lie about how recently it was.
Oh my gosh. Have I watched any movies lately? No. I kind of literally my kids stay up too late that by the time they go to bed, I'm too tired to watch anything. So I just don't get the chance to go to movies. So thanks for letting me tag along with this one. I really had a good time. Things I'm looking forward to. I'm a huge geek, so I like Marvel stuff. I like anime. Things like that. There's
it's one of your defining characteristics.
God, I can't even remember. There's an anime film coming up soon that I want to see, but I can't remember what it is. But while
Isn't
you guys go, I will
Yakamoto. What's his name? The Ponyo. What's his name?
Hayao Miyazaki. No, he's
Hayao Miyazaki. Kurosawa.
He's apparently got something in the works, but he's retired.
Yeah,
we'll see about that.
That's the worst, when your favorite director's retired, dude. Daniels are back! Everyone needs to go see this movie. Keep the movie theaters going. I don't want them to go out. Actually, I do, because I'm fine doing all these movies at home. But anyway, that's just me. I don't have to go to the theaters because I have a home theater here. What's up? What's good? Oh, and real quick, do you have a social media presence you want people to stalk you on or anything like that?
No, not particularly. I have my only public-facing social media is Instagram called Top Creations, but it's mostly just like D&D dice and 3D printing stuff.
Oh, you should play our Futro quest.
Oh yeah, dude! If you like D&D, we play a week. Yeah, Jordan does host the D&D thing.
But it's not like
it's
like intense.
We played
D&D.
Hunger Games season 2.
We're pretty loose on it. You just kind of.
It's a bunch of death games. It's like, did you watch?
I write short stories and then they.
Did you watch?
Do improv.
I called it the Hunger Games. What is it called? Did you watch the Squid Game, Brittan?
Oh, I did watch Squid Game.
There you go.
I enjoyed Squid Game.
Yeah. So Squid Game, we do Squid Game season 2. It's all the made-up games that didn't make it into the first season, we think. So a bunch of childhood games that end us getting a bullet in the head.
I know what I can recommend. It is an anime. It's not a movie, but it's Ranking of Kings. If anyone's heard of it, it's available for streaming on Crunchyroll. Fantastic, kind of a storybook-esque show, but it defies a lot of expectations and is a really, really good show. So highly recommend it. Ranking of Kings.
Great.
Nice.
Ranking of Kings. Brilliant. All right. Grant, what have you seen lately? What are you looking forward to?
So I watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That one's pretty funny.
Koba.
Yeah. And then I rewatched What's Up, Doc, and I showed my wife. I freaking love that movie so much. I'm with the government. Okay.
That's it. When he's carrying that golf club case and he's just chucking clubs like every few blocks. Oh my gosh. Freaking trying to be inconspicuous, and he's carrying a giant golf bag with his clubs. At the end of the hike, he has like 2 clubs left.
And they got burned in the fire, and he still has them. It's so funny. I was laughing so much. It was hilarious. And then I watched Forrest Gump for the first time all the way through.
What'd you think?
It's good. It was kind of, I don't know. It's a one-time watch. I feel the same way.
I hate that movie. I say openly, I think it's dumb. I mean, yes, things in history happen. History's interesting. Yeah. Forrest Gump was there all throughout it. He's a bumbling idiot. Oh, look at me, I'm Forrest Gump. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Or is he like me?
Is he like me? Oh, it's cringeworthy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Life is like a box of chocolates. Shut up! I know what life is like a box of chocolates. I get it, okay? Jeez. It's no good. It's not a good movie. Sorry, George. George, do you like Forrest Gump?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry to bash your favorite movie.
It's not my favorite movie, not even close.
Oh, hey, real quick, before I forget, let's all have a moment of silence for Guilford Godfrey. He just died. That was sad. The voice of Diego. Ah, that's a big surprise. I can't do his voice, but Diego from Aladdin. He's the parrot. Drop Papa-in-law off a cliff. Yeah! You're splat. That guy.
He was a comedian. Pretty big.
Yeah, he was more than just a parrot on Aladdin, but that guy. Yeah, he passed away. And you know what was really sad? Let's have another moment of silence for Will Smith's, dignity, because it's completely dead. Sorry, Gilbert Godfrey. I'm sure you like that joke. I was working on it all day. Anyway, Grant, what else have you been seeing?
And then I rewatched The Court Jester. That's such a classic.
Danny K or Daniel K?
Danny K, yeah.
Kale.
Okay.
Kale. Or is it K? I kept saying Kale and Kevin got mad at me. Yeah, it's Danny K. Okay, nice.
So,
anything else? What are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm looking forward to seeing the second season of Demon Slayer. It's a really good anime. All of you should watch.
Yep, Demon Slayer's great.
So I might check
heard
out
it's good.
The King one.
So you have to watch the 2 seasons and then watch the movie, right? There was a movie that came out.
The Mugen Train arc is the movie. It's
last year.
It's a movie which is direct continuation of the series, but they also redid that entire movie as a season that you can watch if you don't want to go watch the movie. I just watched the movie. It's a lot shorter and tells the exact same story.
Okay, nice.
Interesting. And then
Slayer.
I'm looking forward to Northman and...
Oh, the Northman. Robert Eggers. This is another... Brittan, I might take you to the theaters again, okay? Robert Eggers. He did The Lighthouse. He also did a movie called The Witch. Have you seen either of these films?
I know of The Lighthouse. I haven't heard of The Witch.
Yes. Okay. Another A24 film. And it's going to be like about a Viking getting revenge on someone that killed his family or something. Very excited to see it. Anyway, so I just saw the Rotten Tomatoes. They got a 90% from critics. So, I mean, it makes me a little worried because it could be like a Green Knight situation where the movie's absolutely batshit crazy, but at least like there's something artistic about it. Yeah. Maybe more autistic than artistic, but we'll see. We'll see. So, anyway, what were you saying, Grant? What are you looking forward to?
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it.
And Grant, wait, share your thoughts really quick about Ambulance. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Jake Gyllenhaal was the best part of the whole movie. Just like he's like, it's so funny because he's a sociopath in this movie as well, and he does it so well. Because like it's kind of scary how comfortable he is in these like high intensity situations in the movie that you're just like, okay. Like his performance is so good in the movie, and then
I might have to go see this movie.
Yeah, so it's just like fun. Like it's kind of hard because the whole thing is pretty much a car chase, and so it's kind of drawn out, and there's like slow times. But that I think like how they're using, because they have a cop in the ambulance with them that they're kind of holding hostage essentially, and so like kind of the dynamics there makes it interesting for like to have it that long like of a car chase, I guess. But overall, it's a good watch.
That is funny. Like, ask Michael Bay. He's like, I want a 2-hour movie. And it's all about one car chase. Like,
yeah.
you could do other things. No. Just all one car chase.
Yeah. So, I think it's worth a watch. It's fun. It's a good one.
Is it better than Wrath of Man, Grant?
Wrath of Man. I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh, did you not see that Jason Statham movie?
I don't think
Jordan,
so.
Is it better than Wrath of Man?
Not even close.
Jordan has a man crush on Jason Statham. That's his boyfriend. I think Jason Statham is great, doing the one thing that he loves.
Great. You haven't seen him in his best movies, like Crank 2.
I know. I don't know if I'll ever watch Crank movies. I like the premise, though. Like, he has to keep his heart jacked. It's speed, right? But, like, internally, his heart explodes.
It's as bananas as this movie we just saw.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's, like, a scene where they're in giant costumes and they built, like, a tiny city and they start smashing into each other like Godzilla. It's so good. It's so bananas.
I love it, dude.
And he has to keep himself alive. Like, so he constantly, like, he puts jumper cables to his tongue so he can, like, pump up his heart. Yeah. Crazy.
See, I love the sound of this. I don't know. Jason Statham is hit or miss for me. He's just such a weirdo. Don't beat me up, Jason. You could certainly slap me harder than Will Smith. Atlanta season 3, folks. Have you guys been watching this? Grant, have you been watching Atlanta?
I saw a little bit with Jordan before. It's pretty funny.
Watch Atlanta. Did you like Get Out?
Except the last episode was garbage.
No, dude. I have so many thoughts about last episode.
We're going to talk about the whole season.
Okay, dude. You said it was garbage. It was kind of terrifying. It was literally like Jordan Peele.
Not garbage. It just gave me anxiety, and I was like, I hate this.
It okay being exciting too. I think that's the whole point, right? I'm sure it's supposed to be funny, but I was like, holy shit.
Well, funny for black people. For white people, it's like our worst nightmare come true. It's horrible.
Dude, Doug from freaking Hangover, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He gets the Madeleines, right? The little cookies. He could go return them, but he's like, yeah, I'll just take them, you know? And then at the end of the episode, he has to eat the other cookie. I'm just saying, a lot of symbolism, really intense. Grant, if you like Get Out, watch Atlanta. There are two things to watch it for. One, there's like a real story about a guy down on his luck trying to make it ends meet, support his wife and his baby mama.
In the music industry.
Not his wife, yeah, in the music industry, rap music industry, which is amazing. And then there's like random surreal moments that are like obviously just meta commentary, but they're Jordan Peele.
I think it gets more surreal Twilight as the seasons go on.
Yes, they have. And like especially this latest season 3 right now, there have been 2 episodes that have just been full blown like.
But the thing is, the funny part about when we're saying surreal, they literally tell a true story though, but it seems surreal.
That's the craziest part. Yeah. See, I want you to watch it because you're gonna see some episodes you're like, oh, there's no way this is true. And then I'll tell you, Grant, after you watched it, I'll be like, that really happened. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like, they embellished very few details, but that's what happened. It's crazy. I listened to a podcast about the actual story the episode is based on. And again, the whole thing is a series, so you can watch it out of order, but definitely watch it in order because it tells the story of Ern and his struggle, and then you just get these other episodes. But Atlanta, it's the craziest show right now. Love it. Everybody, it's bonkers to watch that show. Atlanta season 3, I'm watching right now. And then I also watched a chick flick with my wife while you were sleeping. Haven't seen this movie forever. Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. I love Bill Pullman. I'm going to watch Sinner season 3 now because it's now on Netflix. So I'm going to be watching The Sinner. I love Bill Pullman. I think he's like a gem of an actor. I love him to death. He's so good in The Sinner. Watch season 1 and 2. I'm going to now watch 3. Can't wait to see it. And but it was actually really funny. While You're Sleeping is hilarious. And there's 2 Biffs in the movie that make no sense. At the beginning, they show a bunch of people at the ice skating rink, and someone just eats it and cracks their head on the ice. And I'm like, that person probably died with a concussion or something. But it's somehow kept in the movie. And then there's another scene, a guy's delivering newspaper on his bike. He throws a newspaper at the door, and he's like twists his bike handles, and he just falls. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I'm like, why is this in the movie? So funny though. Watch While You're Sleeping is a great chick flick. Watch it with your family and friends. And what I'm looking forward to, I might go see Ambulance. Very excited to see the massive weight of unbearable talent, or is it the unbearable weight of massive talent? Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's the Nick Cage movie where he's playing Nick Cage, but he's like working with the CIA to impress Pedro Pascal, who's like this rich oligarch in some Venezuelan country, or I don't remember where he is, somewhere in Central America or South America. Can't wait to see it. I love Nick Cage. I think he's a treasure. He is the national treasure, as you all know. And so can't wait to see that movie. So I'm very excited to see that one. And I think that's it as far as movies in the theater, other than, like you said, Madness, Universe of Madness or whatever, the superhero movie next. Maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't. I'll just wait to see the reviews, which they'll obviously slap a good review on it. But I was going to go see Morbius because Jared Leto, the actor of a generation of our lifetime, got like 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Bloody dude, like how bad is your movie? I mean, who could have predicted this, right? I mean, I told you it was going to be trash, but his performance, that's why I go see the movie, is for his performance. I'm going to look on YouTube all the scenes with Jared Leto. I don't care to see any of the monster. I just want to see him, you know, being like a total beefcake and then like a really skinny dying, looking like the alien that came out of that guy's head at the end.
You should watch the pitch meeting of Morbius. It's really funny.
Morbius?
He's like I'll probably watch he goes from being super skinny, almost dying, to being jacked like a bat. He's like, I don't see the connection, but okay.
Bats are really well built. Yeah. Why is he's a superhero, Grant, so he's got to look like a beefcake, right? Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't. But Robert Pattinson did in the Batman. He didn't even work out for the role. But anyway, just saying. Kevin was upset about that, by the way. I just want you guys to not forget this. Kevin told me, he's like, I don't know how I feel about Robert Pattinson as Batman. He's not even willing to work out for the role. And I'm like, do you need your guy like big, sweaty, and beefy like Ben Affleck to like appreciate Batman? Anyway, love you, Kevin. Hope you're listening to the podcast. I just think that's so funny. That's your gripe with Batman.
I watched Red Rocket, which Red Letter Media talked about. I saw a trailer and I actually thought it looked good, but then they seconded it.
Florida Projects, right?
Yeah, the Florida Project.
I did want to see that movie too. What did you think? Red Rocket. Which, if I'm to understand, like, that's a reference, because in Chile, we're referring to a we called it a red rocket. Is that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Just saying. That's what you call it.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's what he was alluding to. It reminds me of like X, and I hate to compare it to Cuties on Netflix, but because he starts hitting on this younger girl, and I'm just like, and I had to look her up on IMDb because I was feeling kind of gross about it. And it
turns out she's barely legal.
No, it doesn't even say her age like on there, and I think that's because they're trying to keep that under wraps. And it made me feel very uncomfortable knowing that. But the first half is really good, and I still enjoyed the whole movie as a whole. But like, I just like X, like the movie X, the same thing. It's just like too much. I just wonder if it's like, Wolf of Wall Street, where it's like I just get like a gross feeling afterwards. It's just like
for sure
too much excess. And it's like, where do you draw the line too? Oh, there's a lot I enjoyed about it. His performance is great. I like that guy. He's from
Scary Movie
3.
You're doing that story about cop cycles.
He also did Halloween, which is really funny as well.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched Ad Astra, obviously a classic. We'll do it eventually. I also listened to Donald Glover's stand-up Weirdo. So if you like...
Oh, Donald Glover. I love him.
Yeah, if you like Donald Glover from Atlanta, he's pretty funny.
Troy was actually probably arguably the reason that Community died after he left the show, dude. Community wasn't the same after that, dude. He was a big part of it, dude.
And then I watched Menace to Society. It's a lot like Boys in the Hood, or what was the retelling of Ice
Straight
Cube's
Outta Compton?
Straight Outta Compton, yeah. It just reminds me of those two movies. Fun movie. And I had to turn down the volume a couple times, though, because I was listening to it while I was working, and there's people walking around me. I'm like, oh, no. And I saw a black guy walking by. I'm like, oh, no, he's going to think I'm listening to something really bad.
Dude, that reminds me of Office Space when he's sitting in traffic, he's listening to rap music or whatever.
And he starts turning it down.
The N-word, he's like, whoop.
Yeah.
Turn it down, dude. It's awkward.
Yeah. And then watched Hellraiser for the first time. I mean, I finally finished it. I started it a long time ago, and I'm like, this movie's so disgusting. And it still is, but I enjoyed the practical effects.
All I remember is that 30-second bunny video from it. Like,
it's
like freaky thing down the hallway. It's like,
it's absolutely bananas. And then I rewatched The Iron Giant, which is a classic. Good freaking movie.
Nice.
I like this scene. I can't even explain it. After he gets washed away by the wave, and he's like, "Hey, you can't be out in the middle of the road." Yeah, I said you're in the middle. Yeah. That part always makes me laugh. I don't know why. It's great.
It's an amazing movie. I can't wait to talk about it.
It's a good movie, dude. It's a good movie. Everybody, this has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Tell us a movie you'd like us to review in the future, or a movie that we've reviewed in the past. Did we get something right or wrong about it? Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on Instagram. Jordan posts hilarious 1-minute recaps of all the episodes. And check us out on podcasts or YouTube. Our whole catalog is there. This has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Raccacoonie.
Oh, she see too much.